Clara is a beautiful girl from North Pole, Russia. She has a smooth, white skin that her family named her Queen of Snow. Although her father is a retired officer at the railway station in his countryside, his father is very strict, who act angry all the time. Whenever he loses an argument outside, he tends to vent his anger on his family, especially his wife but not his beloved daughter, who he loves the most. Clara is quite tall, with a good shape. Her face is so oval and well-structured as if it was a special artist that constructed her face. Whenever people see her, they tell her that your face is meant for your face. She has these big cat eyes, that people call romantic eyes, with very long soft silky hair, which reaches above her buttons. Clara is an artist who derives joy in sculpture and painting. While she is preparing to go to her shop, which is full of her dreams and desires, where she feels she can accomplish everything through her painting. Being the first daughter and first issue of her parents, her younger ones and family expenses are on her young shoulders. One morning while preparing to go to her shop, she stands towards her mirror trying on her sky blue printed gown, while her younger sister Anna is sitting on the bed looking at her with a full smile on her face. She said, "Clara, you are dressing beautifully today. Is there any special occasion which we are not aware of?" Clara rolled her eyes, shrugged her shoulder and said, "Maybe, but sis, I think you can guess since you are good at guessing." She continued, "You know I hardly guess your move, unless you tell me what's going on." She asked, "Do you have a date today?" Clara was surprised by the question her sister asked. You can see how her big eyes popped out of their sockets to tell you how shocked she was, her mouth wide open as she called out her sister's name, Anna. She came close to her sister and sat in front of her. She looked at her sister, who is quite a replica of her. She continued, "Amigo," that's what she usually calls her sister. "You know, over 8 months I left my abusive relationship with Peter. Since then I haven't been in any relationship and am not planning to enter into one, dear. I need to focus on dreams, desires, my artist, and my family. I don't think there is any room for a relationship now." Her sister doesn't like the answer she gets from her sister. But she can't deny the fact that her sister has a rough relationship, so she is taking her own time to heal. Anna said, "Well, you are right, but that doesn't mean you can't have one. Life is full of experiences, some are bad while some are good. Mum has been on your neck concerning your constant turning down of some marriage proposal that comes your way. So how are you able to handle Mum whenever she brings up the discussion? Because it seems that's only the discussion we have in this house." She continued, "I'm sorry Mum is making it difficult for you. I wish I could do something about it. I wish I could ease your stress and pain. Nevertheless, we need to keep our hope alive, so far we live." Clara breathed heavily and said, "You are right, amigo, but don't blame yourselves over the circumstances at hand. In life there is every phase we must pass. Each level has its test, and I believe this phase will pass too." "You are right," said her sister. "So how did you see the gown and makeup I wore this morning?" Clara asked, looking at her sister while waiting for her answer. "I love it, it is perfect." "You look different," Anna said. "Anyway, I have a contract. One big hotel," she said, "needs some sculptures and paintings for their newly built hotel, which will take months. So they need so many paintings for walls and some sculptures for sides of the hotel, both outside and inside, so I have been working on that for a few weeks now," Clara said. "Wow, Clara, is a good month to start, and I am very happy with that's a huge contract." "Yes, indeed it is," replied to Clara. "Anna, since you are dwelling in this contract that I seal, maybe I should put on this gown to know if it fits in." While Anna was searching through her phone, Clara came back well dressed. She was adjusting her dress and adjusting her bra to be sure it was in the right place. The gown brings out her figure so well, you can see how her fine figure is and how her breast is well packed as it stands pointed. "Although the gown is a bit tight, it goes well with your body figure," said Anna. "Thanks," replied Clara with a big smile on her face. You can hear her mother's voice calling them to have their breakfast. Clara is a replica of her mother, but the difference is Clara is a patient and calm person. When there is a decision to make, Clara takes a whole time to decide, but not the case with their mother. Her mother is the opposite of Clara's behavior and traits. Her mother is a housewife, but you do not call her housewife because according to her she keeps an account of all the family expenses, which makes her an automatic accountant. So whenever her husband wants to tease her, he calls her my accountant. While everyone is having their breakfast at a long dining table that has 8 seats, which has side by side their father sitting on the head of the dining table while their father's mother, who is still alive, is opposite. While everyone is eating quietly, when her mum finished serving everyone, she joined them in eating. As they were eating, Clara looked up and viewed her family members and said, I will be going to the 3-ton hotel to sign a contract. I got a contract to make some paintings and sculptures. Is it one of the biggest hotels? I heard that they are about to open next month, her younger brother Victor asked. Yes, it is, replied Clara. Everyone stopped eating and looked at her with surprise on their faces. Their faces can't hide their expression. Congratulations, her father said. Thanks, father, Clara replied. Clara continued, I have been working on the project for quite a while now, but I said I will tell you all when everything is finalized. Her mother is extremely happy. Although her mother wants something big, something that is bigger than the contract Clara got. Clara's mother is a woman who brags a lot. She has nothing to do with small things. She is too ambitious. Even though she thinks she marries an average man when it comes to finance, she still has the feeling that all her desires, which she feels haven't been fulfilled, will be fulfilled by her elder daughter Clara. Clara, on the other hand, only focused on her siblings and her dreams. After the announcement of Clara's achievement, her family congratulated her. Everyone goes back to eating, and you can feel the tranquility of the whole place. Clara lifted her small green bag which her sister gifted her on her last birthday. Are you done eating? Her mother asked. Yes. I need to be in the hotel on time. Everyone bade her goodbye. While leaving, she reminds her younger sister Anna about cleaning up the room, since it is her turn to do that. She and Anna share one bedroom. The bedroom contains 2 mattresses and a 2-joined wardrobe. There is a big standing mirror opposite the mirror. And make-up chairs and tables. The tables have 4 mouth drawers. Anna has a small bookshelf because she is a good reader. You can see a few books and novels that are well arranged on the shelves. Her sister Anna asked her not to worry, that she would do it today. Clara smiled and left. George, who is the heir of all the family business, property and treasures, has 2 brothers. Who lives a luxury lifestyle. George begins as the eldest brother with the full attention he always gets from his family. George is like a coconut, hard on the outside and soft on the inside. Begin the heir to all his family business. Made him CEO of all the companies owned by his family. George is strict, authoritative, and very choosy. George has not begun a relationship because his work schedule doesn't allow him to be. He doesn't know what it's like to fall in love. Nothing like heartbreak in his life because he never gave anyone the chance to do so, or maybe because of his tight schedule. He is dark and fair with thick and hairy skin. He spends so much when you talk about hair and skin routines. In his family, George is considered the tallest. And he is huge and hairy. George is preparing to go to the office. He is trying to adjust his tie in front of the big round mirror. George's room is among the finest and biggest rooms in the mansion, as if the room is made especially for a special prince. The room contains the big size of the royal bed. In the front, there is a handless couch where he sat to put on his shoeness. On the left side of the bed is a big, massive, luxurious bathroom and toilet. At the edge of the room you will see the tallest and longest shoe rack. The shoe racks contain different latest designer shoes that are well set and arranged. Then the right side contains double the edge, and in the middle, you will see a cozy executive chair. George has a private library where he reads all the documents and contracts. Whenever he needs quiet time, he spends it in his library. His assistant Louis is standing beside him, waiting for his boss to ask him some questions. What is my schedule for today? George asked. His personal assistant looked at his tab and answered, you have a board of directors meeting by 11 a.m., a press conference by 3 p.m., then the summary of the 3-ton hotel, that is the painting and interior design, then sculpture too. He said hesitantly. George paused for a while, turned towards the direction of his assistant and asked, what summary do you mean? I have finalized everything. The boards have given the contract to the person who merited it. So what summary are you talking about? Louis hesitated and said, So you said you want to have a brief face-to-face with the person that was given the contract. Oh, I said that. George asked, to cancel the brief meeting, and let everything be handled by the board of directors. All I want is to let everything be unique and perfect, George said while adjusting his diamond chain wristwatch and looking at himself to see if the dress he put on suited his skin color. George is fond of his color skin, that's why he is skeptical of the color of the suit he wears every day. Aside from sealing deals and business shares, George likes golf as a sport, although his family thinks that golf is a boring sport, so they hardly show interest in it because of George. They do support and cheer him. George came down upstairs and his family members were having their breakfast at the very big dining table. The dining table looks like a royal dining room. You can see so many dishes on the table. These dishes can feed many people. You will think it is a must that they will finish the whole food. But almost all the family members were on a diet. They eat small portions of food. George's family doesn't play with time. You can't be late for breakfast or any other private family function they have. George came down and touched a few dishes and then left with his personal assistant. As he was leaving his mother to come in front of him quickly, he stopped. "Mother, what is that for?" George asked. "I want to call you, but I remember you don't like us to call you from behind while you are leaving because you consider it a bad omen." "Okay, Mother, what is so important that you have to halt my movement?" George replied. Her mother said, "You are perfect in handling both business and family, but what happened to your love life? You have been taking care of us and the business. You need someone to take care of you too, don't you think so?" His mother asked. George stammers. George is not a stammer, but whenever the issue of marriage comes up he rolls his eyes and stammers, especially if he is in front of his mother. George doesn't fear anyone, but he fears his mother. Both mother and son have a deeper connection. "Mother, can we discuss it when I come home in the evening?" George replied. "Fine, you can go," his mother said. She knew his son too well, but she allowed him to have his way in every situation. Especially in situations like this. As he was leaving, his mother kept looking at him as he went. George sat at the back of the car. His personal assistant and the driver were sitting in the front. As they were on their way, George was checking some files and documents which his PA had read and checked. George was only rechecking and rereading to be sure of what he was signing. From his house to the office is about 1 hour drive. When he reached, he dashed into his company and all the staff were greeting him. He nodded his head in response to their greeting. George is a fast walker. Immediately he reaches his cabin, he removes his coat and his PA helps him and hangs it on the suit standing hanger. He sits on his executive chair while his PA is still standing waiting for his boss to signal him to sit down so that he can sit and take down the note of the schedule of George for today. George's mother, Catherine, is discussing with her husband concerning how George dodge any topic related to marriage. She continues. "We have to look for a match for our darling son George. The girl will match with our standard, she must come from a very rich family, we can't settle for less," she concluded. Her husband looked at her and laughed. He said, "Catherine, you need to take it easy on our son. Find a good girl. She mustn't be from a rich family." "No," Catherine said, "I don't agree with you on this. My only son will marry a good girl that will match our standard." Period. In Clara's house, her mother was sitting down with her sister, talking about Kira's future. While talking, her sister is looking at her phone when she sees George's picture on the winner of the year business. She is not talking to Clara's mother again, all her focus is on the picture. "Why are you not talking to me?" Clara's mother asked. "I'm looking at the richest bachelor. I wonder why he had not married." "Sister, this man will suit our dear Clara." "Let me see," Clara's mother said. She collected the phone from her sister and looked at the photo. "I love what I'm seeing, Clara, mother. But the problem is that we didn't match their standards." "What do you mean?" she asked. "We are not rich enough to match their standards." "I can do anything to match their standards," Clara's mother said. "Even if I borrow a mansion and other stuff, I am capable of it. I have to discuss that with my family." In the evening after dinner, Clara's mother said, "I have found a groom for my daughter." Clara looked at her surprise. "Mum is not ready for marriage," she said. "You are her mother," replied her. "A suitable suitor for my dear daughter, from Bryan family." "Mum, I can't quit my dream because of marriage, besides we don't match their standards, so it is better we forget that," Clara said. No, I can't forget that, her mother said. All you have to do is to follow my instructions and I assure you that you will get the man. Your future will be good too. You have to listen to me. So what do you want to do? Clara asked. We have to match to their standard, anyhow till you are married. Mum, do you mean we should lie about our social level? Clara asked again. Sort of, her mother replied. I'm sorry, mother, please count me out, a marriage based on a lie can't stand. You have to do what I said. The future of this family depends on you. Do you think you can fulfill everyone's needs with the small business you are doing? You need a capable hand, Clara. I'm against what you are saying, Clara, father said. You will use your own hands and ruin your daughter's life. Please don't do this, Clara's father said. My daughter is for your own good, you need to lie small so you can have a bright future. Mother, you are being selfish, Clara said. After so much pleading and emotional blackmail, Clara gives but is not happy about it. She doesn't want to be the reason her family begins to be divided. We will be staying at my brother's mansion from now on, we need to be on the same level with them. Mum, do you know the contract I have now was from Brian family, your so-called future son-in-law, Clara cut in. That's good, said Clara's mother. Let the work begin, she said. Clara is working on one of the sculptures at the hotel when George passes. George looked at Clara, but Clara didn't notice him, all her attention was on her sculpture. George is amazed because all the girls noticed his presence. But Clara's case is different. This girl is different from the girls I have met so far, he thought. George's mother is happy when he sees her son returned, after greeting his mother. Her mother told him, My son, I have found a girl per our standard for you. Mum, not again, George replied. Just met the girl once, who knows, you might like the girl. His mother insisted. Okay, fine, I will try and meet her, but that doesn't mean I have agreed to the marriage, he said. Fine, his mother said. Clara's mother convinced Clara to meet George once. Her sister said, I sense true love. You are talking as if is a love marriage, but this is an arranged marriage, Clara replied to her sister. On Friday evening, both of them meet at Golden Star Food Outlet as the family schedule. George recognized her, but Clara didn't recognize him. Both sat down, they were quiet for some time before George asked, You love to begin independent, despite having a big business empire. So why choose sculpture instead of joining family business, he asked while looking at her. How did you know I'm into painting and sculptures? Clara asked. The work you are working on at the moment is me giving you the contract. I am the owner of the hotel. Clara looked at him surprised, but she still maintained herself and well, I'm not aware of that. Coming to your question, sculpture has been my passion and my dream, Clara replied while trying to avoid eye contact. They have a wonderful outing, although there is nothing to write home about. But George wants to see Clara again. Her beauty is something else, George thought. George hoped to see Clara again. Clara arrived at her house with a long face. Her mother came closer and asked her, What happened? Didn't it go well? Waiting eagerly for an answer. Mother, is better we stop this. Is not good to lie. Is all these lies necessary? Clara said. Don't you like the guy? Her mother's queries, is not about likeness but honesty, Clara answers. Months later, George and Clara become good friends, but they make sure that the personal friendship doesn't affect their professional work. Although Clara is still feeling guilty about hiding their social standard from George, George and Clara accept the marriage, although there is pressure from Clara's side concerning the marriage. But Clara accepts for the happiness of her family. George sends her a gold necklace which Clara refuses to wear, but her mother told her that if you send back the gifts it won't be good, but instead keep it in your box, which Clara accepts to do so. On the wedding day, Clara is so anxious and afraid of the outcome if George happens to find out about her family background. So she decided to tell George the whole truth. Clara is already in her wedding attire and she is ready for the wedding. When she texts George to meet her, George, the first want to see you before the wedding procession. There is something important I want to discuss with you. She texts him. George is already in his suit when he receives the message from Clara. Okay, George replied. He left and met Clara. When he saw Clara in her wedding attire, he was mesmerized by her beauty. He admires her so much until Clara calls him gently. What matters? What could be so important that you don't wait till we are done with our wedding? George, I can't go ahead with the wedding, Clara said. George was confused and shocked by what he heard from Clara. But he calmed himself down and said, "Can you give a reason why this wedding won't happen?" Clara looked at him and paused a while. Then said, "Everything concerning our marriage was a lie. I lied about being rich. I'm not rich, I came from the middle class. I'm sorry, I have to lie to you. Believe me, the fault is not from my family. I'm ready for any punishment you will give me." When she wanted to leave, George stopped her. "And do you think I am not aware of it? Do you think I will not do a proper background check on your family?" George continued. "I know everything. You know everything and you still go ahead with it. The marriage." "Why?" Clara asked. "You are unique, that's why," George replied. "What about your family?" Clara asked again. "They all knew," George replied. "I love you, Clara. The first time I saw you, I know there is something unique about you that draws you to me. In everything I love your honesty and your good spirit. I love Clara. So let me propose to you officially." He knelt down and brought out the ring and said, "Will you marry me, my Clara?" Clara smiled and stretched out her hand and said, "Yes, I will." He get up and hugs her. They got married and live happily ever after.